Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome back to Oslo and welcome to a new car that we have never driven or really talked about on this channel. This is the Voyah Free and it is launching in Norway and will continue to launch in other markets across Europe, maybe even the US one day. It's Voyah is part of the Dongfeng, I believe, car company. They produce a whole bunch of cars in China, like a huge automaker. And this is really their luxury electric brand that they have launched. And they have a store right in downtown Oslo. And I'm going to drive one for the first time today. I'm going to have it for a few hours, go have some fun with it. Weather's not great outside, so I'm going to show you the car around here in the showroom, give you all the stats. It's got a huge battery pack, 100 kilowatt hours, super nice, about 70,000 krona or 700,000. I don't even know the conversion, but it's about 70 grand. It's e-tron money, but with a lot more kit than a normal e-tron. So a lot to show you here. First off, looks pretty good. Love the spec. Let's get into it. So you join me here in the Voyah showroom right in downtown Oslo, and they have two vehicles here. Now, these vehicles are actually China spec Voyahs. And before I tell you about these in particular, I want to talk about the Free. This is their first model. And they actually have their original concept that debuted, I believe, at the Beijing Auto Show in 2019 or 2020, just over here. And so this one's a little bit longer than the production version, but overall, I would say this is pretty close to what actually came to be. Now, what's kind of neat about Voyah is that it's not directly a startup automaker. It's coming from a car company that has produced vehicles for years and years, and they've just wanted to go up market and more luxury, of course. So coming over to these vehicles, this is now the full production spec version. In China, they've already sold about 10,000 Voyah Free, so they are out and about. But I'm not totally sure if it's been super well received, the market launch over there, compared to some competitors. I was just looking at some numbers and not sure if it's production capacity, but it's not massive splash into the market. On the inside is just absolutely gorgeous, I would say. This dashboard actually raises and lowers. I'll show you all of this inside. There's a lot to get into it, but really, really neat. Now, for Norway and the rest of Europe, they're only getting one version of this car, which is the dual motor, all-wheel drive, of course, 100 kilowatt hour usable, 106 gross capacity battery pack. Interestingly, in China, they have, I believe, a front-wheel drive electric version with a smaller battery pack. That seems to be pretty popular. And a plug-in hybrid. So this is actually designed to be a full battery electric vehicle from the ground up. You can see sort of the structure here is designed to house a battery pack and everything. But for China, they offer a range extended plug-in hybrid. It's actually more of a plug-in hybrid than a range extender, I would say. You can see a turbocharger and some other things. I don't know why they have the plug-in hybrid version on display in a market that it won't be sold, but at least we get an idea of the chassis. You can see full air suspension. Down here, here's your air holding tank, onboard chargers, inverter, pretty big rear motor with the half shafts coming out from a center differential. It all looks pretty good and solid in my opinion. And here we go. Here are the wheel options that you can get, the wheel and color options on the car. And just to briefly show you these going down, the car that we'll be driving today will be on winter tires. So we will have winter tires on it, which is great because it's kind of snowy and icy outside. But let's just take a quick look around this thing. I really love the green color on this particular one. So it's called the Voyah Free. The back end, I actually saw one of these driving down the road today. It was a test car. I don't know if they were doing sensor testing or what exactly, but it was, a prototype test vehicle. And I thought, okay, with that light signature, is it a Cayenne in the back? Like what? It definitely was, I'm pretty good at car spotting. And I was like, what is that thing? And I was like, oh, it's the car I'm going to go drive today. It's the Voyah Free. Pretty interesting. Let's look at the trunk space. You can see this little button right here opens the rear tailgate, just like a Porsche Macan is that way, actually. Very nice. The nice thing about an existing automaker is they already have their suppliers, their contracts with everything, so they can find some really nice materials. Noticing this is blue instead of black. Here's the black. I am not a fan at all of this quilted little I would say floor mat of some kind, just a little bit excessive in my opinion. Lots of stitching, added cost and complexity, and just, I don't know, doesn't throw your dogs in there, sure. No underfloor storage in this car because that's where most of the suspension components are housed and the onboard charger. We can see that over here. But if you take a look, there is a small little cubby just over here. If we can get it open, there we go. And you can see your tire mobility kit and just a small hidden storage space right under this area. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about charging because I think that might be this vehicle's weakest link, and that's kind of where I want to start off, which is this is actually a Chinese spec car. So you can see it has, actually, let me see if I can open the port so I can show you everything here. It's charging at the moment, but I believe if I swipe here, I can open the C port and hit open, and I believe that stops it from charging. And now, yep, I can pull it out. So this is type 2, but the reverse of it, which is like so interesting to see that. In China, they do that for AC charging. They also have the GBT port over here for DC fast charging. Now, these ports will not be coming to Europe like this. So you can see 250 volts, 32 amp maximum on the cover there. And it's just using a little adapter here to charge on the Shuko plug. And what's also interesting is they have a little battery level indicator right in the door. It also acts as a light. I really like that. That's pretty good. Let me just show you the European charge port door, and then we'll get into the actual specs of charging. And I don't believe we can just push on this. I think we actually have to go into the system. So this is, both of these vehicles are Chinese spec cars, but this one has been swapped over just with a Euro Type 2 normal port. And so this is not the final design. This is just for the car to work in this market. But that's generally the port that we're going to see on the Euro spec cars. Really nice looking car. Really nice looking car. I believe it has an 11 kilowatt onboard charger. It's possible it'll do 22 kilowatt. If I can find that spec, I'll leave it in the notes below. But 11 kilowatt AC charging, okay, not the end of the world. It's advertised as a 125 kilowatt peak DC charging car. Yeah, not so good, especially for one with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. And this is a trend we're seeing with NIO, with BYD, with others, where we're starting to see these Chinese EVs come in with really low charging power. And I think that's going to change over the next few years. It seems a little bit odd. So the most important thing, of course, is the curve. And Voyah tells me at least that the curve is going to be awesome. It's just going to sit flat all the way through. The car we're driving is actually similar to that white one over there. It's a Chinese spec vehicle that it's still a prototype, and it's not one of the first European cars. And that one will do less power than the final European version. So perhaps if you guys are interested, I'll come back to Norway in a few months. We'll drive one that's fully homologated for here, and then we'll see how fast it charges. So let's talk sales numbers. How can you buy these things? Are they on sale yet? The answer is Voyah is bringing 500 in the first batch of shipments here to Norway. My understanding is they've actually already arrived in Europe. They're in Sweden right now at the port. They're going to be trucked up here, and then they're going to have deliveries starting within weeks, like by the end of November 2022. So very soon. I mean, we are right at market launch right here, and those are fully homologated Euro spec vehicles with the 125 kilowatt charging, faster than the Chinese cars charge. And I think that's going to be pretty exciting. I'm really curious to see how the Norwegians accept this brand. I feel like if the Norwegians go as hardcore into this as they have with XPeng and BYD and NIO, then this will be a massive success. If it doesn't go well at launch, then maybe not so much. But I think it also comes down to how is the car. So let's take a look at some of the tech, because it's not a cheap vehicle. Again, this is roughly 70,000 US dollars translated. It doesn't always work perfectly that way, but not a cheap car. Premium car, big battery. What's it like in terms of comfort? So let's look at some fit and finish. Let's look around at some features. And then, of course, at the end, we'll go take it for a quick drive. By the way, the Voyah does have a double pull under the hood to open up the front trunk, very similar to a BMW. We can see some fluid here. This is really the user serviceable washer fluid here. I'm curious to see if the Euro spec versions will have all the Chinese writing. And take a look at this pretty sizable front trunk, pretty flimsy plastic. But that's not bad considering that it's also a combustion, or I should say plug-in hybrid. So it seems like they took the space where the engine would go and ended up putting in storage. Now for a $70,000 vehicle, this is way too cheap feeling plastic, to be honest. That's just not going to cut it. But it is nice that they put in a front trunk. Let's hear the the hood close sound. Pretty good. Nice. Like that. Let's take a look at the door thunks. Got to do that. That's really important, of course. Ooh, pretty solid. Door handles, very similar to the new Range Rover, actually. Very interesting. Inside, just seeing leather everywhere, diamond patterns, textures, everything. Even the inside of the door pocket is wrapped in leather. That's really, really nice. You can see we're at 17% state of charge at the moment. There's actually a law in Norway that says you cannot Schuko charge, wall outlet charge, without the vehicle being supervised. Very interesting law. Child lock there, window switches. Double pane, yes, double pane glass. Wow, this all feels really nice. It's not a very German button where it's hard and has some heft to it, but automatic windows. You can see your light controls down here, front and rear fog, gauge clusters. Wow, there's a lot here. So I think the software also has to be optimized for full English as well. There's like a little Nomi looking thing up here, but not as hardcore as Nomi, but definitely taking inspiration from that brand. Let's hit the home button. No records, some Chinese music. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Here's the app switcher. Let's see what we can find. Anything interesting. Car. Okay, cool things already. We're on this roof panel setting. I'm glad it's on there because I wanted to show you this. You can see the roof is totally clear. I can go all the way up to blocking the light out and anywhere in between. So here's just a little bit of blocking. Here's a little bit more blocking. Super neat. And we can go all the way closed. On top of that, there's also a curtain that can close. Oh, maybe it's actually just making this as dark as possible. That's what it is. Really nice. I love this feature. And I've never seen one. You know, I've seen Taycan that has the individual sections. That's really neat. But I've never seen one where you can go and choose the level of translucence that you want. That is really cool. It's called the Sky Curtain. Let's go through all the settings and see what we can find. AMB LTG, ambient lighting. So that is such a Chinese thing to have these colors sort of abbreviated. So let's go with this reddish pink color. You can see coming down here, really nice quality. Actually, very impressed with the quality. I just got out of the Neo ES8, which is priced less expensive than this vehicle. And honestly, it feels like a less expensive vehicle. This is really nice. There's a minimalist setting. Ah, interesting. Okay, we want expert. That's what we're looking for. I've always wanted a car with an expert mode for settings and stuff, and here we are. Really nice. Also, ambient lighting on. Yeah, translations don't make sense. It says open and close, but it really should be on and off. So this, okay, they have a little bit of work to do here. Let's go to body control, car windows, ventilate. I love this feature. So we can just ventilate them slightly so that you get some airflow. Very nice. Door locks. Okay. Sky curtain showed you that. RVM. Rear view mirror, I guess. And setting, not settings. It is kind of funny. So sometimes if we go through here, we can see some really funny one. Fatigue detection and relief assistance, I guess is what that stands for. That's what we're looking for. Driving control. That's what I'm interested in. So suspension height middle. So we are on air suspension. Great. So there's eco, comfort, performance, and outing. Outing must be the off-road setting. That's an interesting way of putting it. Let's see what we can customize in our own. So I hate all the abbreviations. Holy smokes. This is crazy. So STR, FRC, INT. I think it means steering force. I don't know what INT would be. So we want weak steering force. Drive control, you can go wherever. Energy recovery, so your regen strong. Wow, whoever did this software really bad job of converting this to English. I'm sorry. That is just not the answer there, folks. Intelligent driving, this would be automatic driving functions. So forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane keeping, intelligent speed system. That's good. Door open warning. What does this one do? When there's risk of collision. Oh, that's cool. So if like a bicyclist is driving up, it'll let you know. Don't open it up. Rear cross traffic warning. What's RCW? When the rear vehicle is at risk of colliding with the user's vehicle, the system reminds of it through light and sound. So that's if you're about to be crashed into. Who did this software? NVS WIT pedestrian. I don't even know what half of this means. When the night vision system, oh, there's night vision, that's cool, identifies that there's a risk of collision with the pedestrian, it marks the pedestrians and sounds an alarm. That's nice. So there's night vision on this thing. What? We gotta turn on the night vision. There it is. Look, we have night vision. Whoa. There must be a light outside that's pulsing that we can't see in the visual spectrum. But look, there's someone walking by. There they go. How sick is that? Okay, charging situation. Let's see what we have here as our options. Target charge level 80%. So you can set your charging level. Ah, what's this? Battery discharge cutoff. What would that be? So you can set a daily maximum charging limit from 60 to 100%. We'll set it to 80 where they had it. That's fine. What is a battery discharge cutoff? Maybe when you get a warning when you get down that low? I have no idea. It's not like they're just going to shut the car off with 20% battery in it, is there? Is that a thing? I hope not. Charging scheduling. Okay. Wow, this is just totally a different way of approaching a car, but I kind of like it. Seat, let's see what we have here. We have AC seats, heating, not at the same time. Bummer. Audi lets you do it at the same time. Voyah, if you want to compete with Audi in the European market, you must allow heat and AC at the same time. Wow. Very loud seating massage at the moment. There's rolling and wavy massages. So only 2 to choose from, 3 levels of intensity. Wow, it's got air pockets right in the back of the seat. That's not an Audi massage. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than an e-tron or an iX, but it's actually better massage than an iX, surprisingly. iX does not have very good massage. And then this is the driver's side, and this is meant to say passenger side, not just front. So if you're okay doing some translations thinking, then you're fine. It of course has Huawei stuff in it because we're Chinese here. So this is, I don't even know what this does, but I guess Huawei's version of Apple CarPlay. Care mode, what's this? Child space, rear seat child care. Whoa, we got a camera. Saved in the album. You can take pictures of your kids. Capture. Wait, we got to take a selfie. How do I do this? All right, so we're going to go like this. All right, went away. Don't know. But that's pretty funny. Okay. Wow, so many things in this car. Child space. This is not optimized for Europe at the moment. This is cool. I really need to go to China and figure out what the heck they all do over there because it just seems like so much. It's almost overwhelming. So camera, let's see what kind of cameras we have. So we have the internal camera. We can record a video. I can make YouTube videos from the Voyah. We have a gallery. Should we see what other photos people have taken? So it seems like, a lot of photos of the outside. Are we snooping? Should we be snooping? There's some dude standing in front of the car. So you can upload this to the cloud USB. What would be recommend? Okay, so if it has like a collision when it's stopped or something, I guess don't know. Child space. Oh yeah, that was that game situation. What else do we have that looks kind of interesting? Dash cam, mobility service, wash car. How does that work? Wow. While that's loading up, take a look at this 360-degree view cam. That's nice. So we can pull it all around. Wow, pretty smooth. Okay, I'm into that. That's cool. What else do we have down here? We have, oh, the dashboard has lowered. What the heck? The whole thing moves. Why would you need that? But I'm kind of glad. I mean, it's cool. I've just never seen that in the car. That's pretty cool. And then you have your driving mode. Maybe if we take it out of home, right here's where we can drive mode through the options: eco, comfort, performance, or individual. So sport mode automatically lowers it as well. And then here we get a pretty streamlined infotainment system. I guess not nearly as much as normal. Anyway, that is a lot of information in here. Holy smokes. Really nice seat quality. No thigh extension, but the massage is going. It actually feels pretty good, to be honest. Back seats look pretty nice. Let's try out the back seat room and then we'll go drive it, because this is going on and on. But cool door handle. And people really seem to like it. You know, I've been in here now for a little bit and have seen some just general Norwegians walk by, and they've been kind of interested in the Voyah. Let's go back here. So I have the seat set pretty far back and big leg room. That's the thing the Chinese always do, is give you big, big, big rear seat leg room. Very nice center console here. Wow, all the materials feel really good. This smokes a BMW rear seat situation. We have USB-C and USB-A. Back seat pockets. That feels a little cheap, to be honest, but it works. Ambient lighting. We have Dyne audio. Grills, plastic grills, not metal. $70,000, not $170,000 vehicle, but it feels worth the money. So, whoa, sorry for the camera work. So my impression off the bat of this thing is like, wow, this is a high quality car. I wasn't expecting it. I thought I would feel either some overly thick leather or just some weird stuff like I felt in Neo ES8, to be honest, and I'm not experiencing that here at all. This is really a nice place to be. Huge glass roof, comes all the way overhead as well. So already can tell there's just funny translations in software. It's the first 500 cars being sold out of China. I'm sure there's going to be some bugs with getting it all up. I believe they get hooked up to the Telenor network, which is one of the best ones here in Norway. The first 500 cars are literally about to get delivered. Man, I don't know what to think, but I hope it drives really well, because if this thing drives really well, then how could you buy an e-tron over this? As an e-tron owner, like, this is a lot nicer feeling car for a lot less money, if I'm honest. Maybe not nicer feeling, but certainly equally nice and a lot less money. But you don't get the Audi name, you don't get the Audi dealerships, you don't get the Audi service. And that would be my hesitation, is like, if I'm going to be dropping $70,000 on something like this, I want to make sure it's reliable. I want to make sure the company will stick around and survive. I don't know. I think you need to be a little bit of a brave person to be the first batch to buy a new automaker. But hey, I did it with Rivian, and others will do it and continue to do it. So I think it's kind of an interesting experiment. Let's go drive it. So guys, take a look at this. Here's just a list of features and specs. You can see the length, width, WLTP range of 500 kilometers. You can see 106 kilowatt hour gross. Max charging is actually 100 kilowatts claimed instead of 120, 20 to 80% in 45 minutes. AC charging, yeah, not totally sure. Says 20 to 100% in 10, 0 to 100% in 12 hours. So that would indicate not 22 kilowatt charging. You can see night vision is included, 0 to 100 kph in 4.4 seconds. That's pretty fast. 200 kilometer per hour, top speed, 360 kilowatt total output, 720 Newton meters of torque. And my understanding is this thing should really rip from a start. It has all the driver assistance included, massaging seats, the whole bit. So again, when we're talking about the value of this thing, certainly seems like a pretty good value when we compare it to iX, e-tron, Model X. Neo ES8 is a little bit less expensive, but I feel like this is a little bit more car, especially after getting in it. Just take a look really quick at the lighting on the ground here to indicate the way, and you can see the turn signals have this little arrow effect, with this pattern. I really like that quite a bit. The front as well, you can see in the reflection, does this little whooshing wave. When you unlock the vehicle, the whole thing has a light pattern that comes up. So yeah, I mean, overall, just the impression of it standing here in the showroom is a high quality product with that gives you a lot for the money. That's really the big takeaway here, is just how much tech and luxury you get for the price point. Now it's time to drive. I want to say a huge thank you to Magna for sponsoring this video. Guys, every week I thought it'd be pretty cool to highlight a specific Magna innovation, and in this case I want to talk about seats. Now, seats may not sound that interesting, but Magna's actually developed a really cool technology called freeform. Now, traditionally seat covers need to be stitched and sewed and hooked and looped in certain places whenever you want to tie down the material or have some sort of concave surface. But with a new innovation called freeform, the material itself can actually be molded to whatever shape you'd like. For example, take a look at this diamond pattern. When have you ever seen a fully embossed diamond pattern with no stitching? It's crazy. It's going to lead to the next generation of interior materials. I've actually even had a chance to try this out. And what's even crazier is the seat structure was the same as the factory OE spec. Freeform allowed the entire seat to feel and mold differently than the original seat. It was really crazy. Take a look at my reaction here. Let's see how this all... Okay, totally different, first of all. But it's the same seat structure.
It's the guts of the seat the production seat.
Whoa, totally different. So a huge thank you to Magna for sponsoring this video. We'll have a full in-depth video with Magna seating specifically on freeform coming to this channel very soon. I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. Well, you joined me inside the Voyah Free, and I have to say, like, seating position, great. Steering wheel, wonderful steering wheel, nice and thin. A lot of people don't like a thin wheel. I do. I really like a thin wheel. This is great. Great 3-spoke. They got all the right stuff here. What's interesting is the test car that I'm driving now is actually on the next generation of software from that Chinese spec inside. So my understanding is Voyah is going to run a Chinese software package on their cars and then a Euro specific software on the other batch of cars. This one's running the Euro specific software. So much nicer. I wish I could take the time to send it, but we're kind of running low on time. Same features as that car. You can still do the roof thing. You can still set your charge and discharge level. I figured out what that discharge level is, by the way. It's for V to L. It's when you want your battery to cut off when you're pulling 230 volts out the back. Really cool. So all around, I'm pretty impressed with just features, feel, fit, and finish. A lot of Chinese cars like appear nice visually, and then you start touching stuff and they don't really hold up that well. This does. Beautiful ambient lighting inside, beautiful cabin lighting. Yeah, let's go drive it. I don't know what setting we're in. I think we're in just comfort mode. We're going to try all of them. I want to try some of the driver assistance. Actually, before we do that, let me set up the driver assistant. Let's go automatic on the fan speed control. How do I get it out of the camera mode? I hit, that makes no sense. Go away screens. I don't know how to make them go away. I think it's a bug. Maybe we need to start driving to get the cameras to clear. Ha! How about that? Anyway, we'll play around with it. We'll find a place to stop. But let's go in reverse. Pretty powerful creep. Into drive, pretty powerful creep as well. Good turning radius, actually. I wouldn't say class leading, but not anything bad. I think I'll shut the cameras off, the lights off in here, and we'll just kind of go for a cruise. I have night vision on just to play around with that. I'm a big fan of night vision in cars. I always thought, okay, kind of silly, probably not worth spending the money on the option, and now I'm kind of really into it. So if we go to the left, we can go out towards the E18. So let's do that. Wow, steering is very light, very comfortable, like most Chinese cars are, in my opinion. Cool. What a feeling of quality. And quiet. Very quiet. I mean, we're in downtown Oslo. There's cars going by. There's parties happening. Really quiet feeling. Now, I guess my main concern is, like, what if you buy one of these? How the heck are you going to get it serviced? And software updates. Are they going to support it? So they claim they're running a Euro-specific software package. They're going to send all the updates to the cars. They give you 5G chip in here with, I believe, 5 gigabytes of data every month or something like that. But it just seems a bit trusting. And I'm not the most trusting of Chinese car companies. We've seen them do some sketchy things. Now, not to say Voyah is that way. They've been really nice to work with so far. They've been really welcoming. They're open about their product. They want us to test it. They're honest about their shortfalls, their charging rate. They understand they're going to improve on it. But yeah, it's just, I think it's a leap of faith to buy this. Now, to drive it and rent it and play around with for a bit, I don't know. The Norwegians certainly seem more open to it than even I am, in a sense. So let's take a look at our drive mode. Let's go to comfort drive mode, which is how we should drive it. So selecting comfort now, and we are locked in. So pretty low regen. It tells you power output in percentage. What's also interesting is it's predicting 212 kilometers of driving at 70%. This is a thirsty beast, by the way, just from some friends who have driven it and stuff. They've said it's pretty thirsty. However, my understanding is well, actually, rather, what I'm trying to say is you can set this 212 kilometers to be your predictive range, your GOM, your guessometer, which we're in right now, or you can set it to be a constant, I believe, WLTP rated range calculation like Tesla uses. Wow, steering is a strong point here. Really nice. Very light steering. I kind of like that. That's how it should be. Brake pedal is responsive but soft. All right, let me see if I can adjust my individual drive mode settings really quick. So drive preferences, individual settings. And so what I really want is weak steering effort, drive control sport, energy recovery strong. Great, so now we're in that mode right here. So I have max regen, max power output. No one pedal driving, really wish it had it. And there is auto hold, which is great. It does all the stuff. I mean, this is legit. This is not a joke. They not a toy. It's definitely like, I get why it's so expensive. I'm gonna get out of this traffic, get out on the highway and play around with it a little bit more, but I'm kind of into this thing. Kind of into it. Well, you join me after a few minutes now driving the Voyah Free, and I'm back in the car, and I can tell the night vision's pointed just a little bit far up, but really a wonderful system to have this night vision here. What's interesting is in Taycan, when it rains, night vision goes away completely because the water blocks it, but here, no problem at all. So must be using a slightly different wavelength. I don't know, maybe it's not as good as Porsche's stuff, but feels pretty good to me. I've put on all the driver assistance and it's doing it. So it's doing lane centering at the moment. It's funny, the Voyah guys were like, hey, this isn't gonna work that well. I would say the opposite. I would say it's doing a great job of just keeping us in the lanes. A couple little bings and bongs about gripping the steering wheel. I think it's a capacitive wheel, but you really gotta grip it. Because I've noticed putting torque in, it doesn't really always wake it up. What I wanna do is, there's just a little bit of traffic outside of Oslo at the moment, and we don't have too much time to drive this thing. So I'm gonna put it into performance mode. You can see the dashboard lower when we go into this performance mode. Our tire pressures are all good. Even tells you tire temperature. That's pretty interesting. Really quiet car. Very impressive from a noise standpoint. And what we're gonna do is basically kind of just loop around and get back on the highway. Dodge Ram driving around Oslo. You see a lot of American trucks here, and by a lot I mean a few a day. So that's kind of an interesting situation, I would say. Just merging over this way. No regen and no way to increase regen. So I really think big miss here. They should have had either paddle shifters to increase regen, or a B mode or a one pedal drive. Maybe through software they'll increase it. Let's just try the acceleration really quick. I'm gonna hit it for the first time. Whoa! Okay. It boogies. I mean, it just spun all four tires. Granted, it's raining outside, but yeah, it lit them up. So, very laggy when you smack down the pedal. There's a delay. That's weird. Even in sport mode, I can understand a delay in normal mode, but yeah, so the pedal's super laggy, but it's got a great bottom hinge accelerator pedal. Big fan of that. Very European-like accelerator pedal. Rear wiper, don't know how to turn it on. Maybe this one, there we go. So let's see how we can go around some roundabouts, shall we? So we're gonna come in here. We wanna go to the left side. I-Pace let us through, thank you so much. Big power. Whoa, full on oversteer. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Okay, this is no joke. This thing rips if you want it to. That's really fun. I heard from Zero it's quite an aggressive launching car as well, so we'll certainly try that. But you can tell their traction control, stability control is nowhere near on par. Tesla doing all their calculations in motor so fast, real time. This is not that. This is very much more of a traditional ESP setup, but just impressive. Everything's good here. I just wish they would give us, better throttle response. Brakes feel pretty good. Squishy pedal, but you cannot left foot brake it. But it's not a performance car, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, definitely an e-booster of some kind, because as I pump the brakes, it builds up a little bit more pressure. Wow, let's go around this roundabout, and then we'll kind of call it a video. But first impressions are very, 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 very good here. I'm very impressed. Wow, full send. Wow, it's not slow. Smokes our e-tron. I would say it feels almost on par as the same as iX50, maybe even M60. Maybe not quite. Coming to a stop. Let's launch it. Whoa. Okay, so the 0 to 80 kph. That's strong performance. Strong performance right there. No complaints from my side. Well, call me impressed with the Voyah Free. I kind of thought, honestly, this was going to be a little bit of a gimmick. I thought, okay, Voyah, weird name. Free, weird name. They got the Chinese badges on the back, but thankfully that won't be in the Euro production. The badges will go away. And I don't know. Yeah, I was just thinking maybe this isn't all that it should be, but I'm wrong. This thing feels solid. I mean, little nitpicks here and there. A lot of it's software related that just needs to get better and improved. I'm reviewing a prototype, so it's hard to know what final production software will look like. I've told the Voyah team, I met some of their folks here, that like, this is the most important part of the car, and you have to make sure it integrates nicely, and you have an app, and you have en-route battery preconditioning for cold weather. Thankfully, their car, I guess in a sense, doesn't charge that fast, so they don't really need the battery to get warm that much, but it does have manual preconditioning, which is nice. I'm okay with that. But I think they get it. They all seem to be like, yep, no, we're right on it. We got all the points. So consider me somewhat impressed here as we come in using the brakes pretty aggressively. Yeah, I like it. I really do. I just think the inputs, you know, what you're getting when you go with a German product like an e-tron or iX is just full refinement of the total package, and steering and throttle and braking and everything like that. This definitely feels a little bit disjointed. Full understeer, big power, traction control. Now it's giving us the power. So it doesn't love to be hustled. And it definitely doesn't feel fully connected, meshed together that well. But if you're just buying this to cruise around in, which is the intention, then I think it gets my seal of approval, or at least my seal of interest. I'm not writing it off from this experience. That's very positive. Wow, when it hooks up and gets traction, I'm just most impressed by the acceleration. Wow. And I've been driving a Model 3 Performance this trip. I don't think it's that quick, but it's a lot faster than what the numbers suggest on paper. 700 Newton meters of torque is no joke. So there you go, Voyah Free. Thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Consider me impressed. There's a lot to like here about this car, and there's a lot that still needs some refinement and improvements. I think to do the car a full, review service, we need to let it get soaked into the market. We need to let it, get fully baked in with the software package that they're going to have, and then I think it's okay to go, review it in depth, I would say. But initially, based off of their prototype software, the features that this has, it's a very high quality car for the money, very feature rich, and I think it's actually going to do really well. I'm pretty pro Voyah at the moment. Big fan. Maybe not big fan. We'll wait to see the final production one before I say big fan. See you in another one soon. Bye bye.